Welcome back. If you are visiting this channel for the first time, then you may know that we aim to share all that we know and learn more on the way and share that as well. We made a part 1 of this video, and if you like you can check that out before or after or whenever you feel like. Now here we go. 15 reasons not to move to Canada. Part 2. Learn that sorry doesn't always mean I'm sorry. Canadians are well known for saying sorry a lot. But we don't always mean it. It's such an ingrained response in us that if someone bumps into us, we'll apologize to them. However, we're not doing it to actually say sorry. We're saying it as a reaction. We can also use it very passive-aggressively. So look out for tone when you hear people saying sorry across Canada. And be prepared to decode the true meanings if you're planning to move here. We've got a lot of wildlife, and terrible bugs. In Canada, we've got a lot of wildlife. And most of it is dangerous or annoying. We've got moose and deer and bears and gophers, or marmots if you're in BC. There are wolverines, coyotes, wolves, and more carnivores running amok through our wilderness. But the worst of our wildlife comes in the form of pests. Technically, the first one isn't a bug, but it bugs me. Canadian geese are satanic hell beasts. It's a common feeling amongst Canadians that these geese are pure evil. They often hiss at you, try to bite people, and take over entire university campuses. And they poop on everything. Honestly, they might be the #1 reasons why you shouldn't move to Canada. But the real pests I referred to in the title are the bugs. Canada's 4 seasons foster a lot of insect life. You'll find horse flies, black flies, mosquitoes, and more. And they're all out to get you. I've been bit so many times by mosquitoes that I've lost count. I used to have dozens of welts on my legs at any given time. They're frustrating annoyances that you never really get used to, even if you live here. It's one of the reasons why we all smell like bug spray all summer, especially if we go hiking. Canada doesn't recognize international credit. When you move to Canada, you have to start over in many ways. One of those ways is with your credit. It doesn't really matter to Canadians what kind of credit history you have abroad. Unless you've filed for bankruptcy or have a criminal record relating to financial crimes, you'll basically start over. This can be a great reason to move to Canada if you don't have amazing credit abroad. But, if you've spent a lifetime building up great credit, it's a definite disincentive to move to Canada. You won't have many city options. Canada has many cities that you could potentially live in. But only a few have the economic opportunities you'll need to survive in the country. Vancouver and Toronto are the most common choices for immigrants. They are also the most expensive cities to live in. If you're not a millionaire, you'll likely find it difficult to buy a house in either of these cities. However, if you live outside of the downtown core, it is more affordable. Ottawa and Montreal are other options, but they don't have the same level of economic opportunity as Vancouver and Toronto. Here, you'll need to know French to get a job. So consider where you would realistically be able to settle to determine where you should live in Canada. Check out the best places to live in Canada here. You may face issues with racism, homelessness, and unemployment. Canada is a very diverse country. This diversity can be seen in our population, our food, and our culture. However, racism still exists in Canada. If you're not white, you may face discrimination when looking for a job or trying to find a place to live. This can be due to implicit bias, racist individuals being in charge, or other issues. However, policies are in place to prevent this treatment. Homelessness is also a growing issue. In some cities, you won't have to walk far before seeing people living on the streets. In Ontario, where I'm from, it's extremely common to find homeless people asking for money outside of every store and restaurant downtown. Unemployment is also a growing concern in Canada. Many jobs are being sent overseas, such as call center work. And, those who are lucky enough to find work may only receive part-time hours. This can be due to the high cost of living, which forces companies to offer part-time hours instead of full-time hours. In areas without the infrastructure of Vancouver or Toronto, there are fewer jobs available for anyone. High cost of living. The high cost of living in Canada is a deterrent for many people, but it's especially difficult to afford living in Vancouver and Toronto. But if you're willing to live outside of the city centers, it is more affordable. Many people also choose to move to Canada because the quality of life is high. This high quality requires a high cost. Canada is a beautiful country, and it's easy to find your oasis. But the cost of living here makes it very difficult for people already struggling with their finances back home. This is one of the major reasons to leave Canada if you were born here. It's why I keep leaving. The high cost of living in Canada is a deterrent for many people. We pay high taxes. Canada has high tax rates compared to other countries in the world. We pay many different types of taxes: income tax, property tax, provincial tax, tax on goods and services, and more. Depending on your salary, your tax rate could increase. The government taxes people with higher incomes at higher rates. However, these high taxes are being put to use. It funds our free education and free healthcare. So, in the end, the high taxes could mean paying less than you would have in the US for your education and healthcare. You won't have to pay for this until you become a Canadian citizen. It's too beautiful. Canada is full of beautiful, natural environments. You'll never be short of somewhere to go hiking, camping, or exploring. But this landscape makes it difficult for everyone to afford to live here. Land is limited and there are many people wanting to live in Canada. This means that houses are small and the price per square foot is extremely high. This beauty can also be a problem when you consider how many cool things there are to do. And how limited your time is to do them. From the Calgary Stampede to the wild horses of Sable Island, you'll find so many amazing travel opportunities. But with only 2 weeks, on average, of vacation time per year, it can be hard to do it all. Plus it's distracting to try and work when you have a picture-perfect view of the Canadian coastline or the Muskoka Lakes. Trust me, I've tried. Summary: reasons not to live in Canada. There are reasons not to move to Canada, but there are also many reasons why it may be worth your time. If you're considering moving or living in Canada for the first time, make sure that these pros and cons of life in this country match up with what you want out of your new home. From plentiful natural beauty to better quality of living, on average, there's a lot about Canada that is attractive. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. I'd love to know if there are any other reasons you decided not to move to Canada. Or if any of these wouldn't be deal breakers for you. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more.